Good evening, everyone. Gives me great pleasure to host the first session of this MarTech series. To get into it right away, the first session is called Making Data Work to Sell More, Better and Faster. I think all of us in today's world know the importance of data and the analytics and metrics that we can derive out of it. It gives us a more focused approach, a more scientific approach to all our sales and marketing efforts. And I need not explain more about it. I'm sure Shashank and Chaitanya will give us an in-depth, will give us some in-depth knowledge with respect to it. I'll quickly introduce both our speakers, Chaitanya and Shashank. Chaitanya Seth is the partner and consulting leader at EY Real Estate. Chaitanya is with EY leads the consulting practice for real estate. He carries with him 17 years of experience and has advised over 30 plus developers, with largest developers to a startup developer. His focus has been on advising and enabling developers on growth agenda, sales velocity, customer experiences, cost reduction, productivity improvements. His focus is to help developers solve problems through strategy, operating model, process, data, and technology. The focus is from ideating to design to implementation and finally drive adoption and realize value. Shashank Jain is a senior manager and also lead of business strategy and analytics. He carries with him almost a decade of experience. His journey started in the automotive sector, and in the past few years, he's been working as a trusted advisor to developers across varied business scales in area of sales and marketing transformation, route to market, enabling a data-led organization, process modernization, and establishing center of excellence for germination of new ideas. His focus has been on revenue maximization and realization. Over to you, Chaitanya and Shashank. Looking forward to a fantastic session. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, big thank you, Mr. Anand, Abhishek, and Joydeep for the kind introduction and giving us this opportunity to participate in this webinar series. And I'm thrilled and excited to share our thought process on this. And I think what Mr. Anand rightly said, data is the next oil, and that's what we are finding in today's world as well. So with that, we'll make a start. Shashank, would you want to share the screen? Joydeep, you can make him a host and we can just flash the screen, please. Yeah. Great. So we'll try and keep it very practical, very engaging, and as simple as possible. That's the main objective what we have. And what we plan to cover is largely in terms of how do we see power of data being used by developers across the value chain. And our focus would be on the sales and marketing bit today. Let me just take a step back. Now, what is data for us? If you look at it, in the last 3 years, the amount of data which would have been collected is greater than what the data would have been there for the past 1,000 years. That's the volume and that's the speed at which data is getting built up. Let me tell you simple examples. Pehle aisa hota tha, you fill up a form and you leave a data behind. You leave a form, you'll get a call. That used to be a data. But today, you go to a website, you buy something at Amazon, you like something, you tweet something, everything you are leaving a data mark behind. So it's not only about understanding the demographic of a customer, but it is understanding about the preferences, about what his lifestyle is, what the patterns are emerging out of it. And that's where we believe that today data provides us a significant opportunity, be it as a promoter, be it as a marketer, be it as a seller, be it as an operations head. All these roles today, from promoter to probably an executive down, will lead data to create actionable insights. And that is what we would want to really cover today. Shashank, next chart. So this is the way we see, before we jump into sales, this is the way we see the entire real estate value chain coming for us. This is all we know, right? We know conceptualization. If I have to do a project, I need to conceptualize the project. What amenities should be there, what layout I should consider, what carpet area I should have, what pricing I should consider. And today, developers are looking at patterns of data, looking at the data of the past concluded transactions, looking at the market research, what customers are talking about, and marrying that data. So today, it is not only about my quantifiable data, which is just the numbers which gives me the analysis. It's also about the simple remarks or unstructured text. जिसे हम बोलते हैं जहां पर एक remark छोड़ देते हैं. For example, budget not sufficient and so on and so forth, right? So how do you kind of make sense out of these unstructured text is also a part. So be the conceptualization stage to help understand and define the product, define the price for us, or be it in the project side to make data work and understand, can I understand through the data and see that this project is going to probably have a delay by 30 days. There is going to be a potential cost overrun because of a steel price change or a cement price change. So how do I look at the predictability of my project's cost or schedule? That's another example. Similarly, the sales, which is the core focus for us, which is our next chart, which basically brings us to the key focus of today's discussion, is clearly looking at accelerating sales velocity. I want to sell more. If I'm selling 100, I want to sell 150. Can I sell better? If I'm selling at a X rupees per square feet, can I sell it X plus rupees per square feet? Can I sell faster? What I was selling in probably a month's time, can I sell it in 25 days time? That is what we believe is important for all of us. And this is a very simple equation what you tried to put in. To impact that, we believe we need to have a lead generation engine, which we should empower with the qualified leads. Second is a conversion, how quickly we can convert. And the third important thing is how do you engage the customer? Because we all know the buying is not typically impulse buying. Gone are the days where impulse buying used to happen at a point in time. Today, it's a very well thought through, and for us as Indians, it's many a times family decision. It takes time. So how do you engage the customer? So these are the three big areas of focus. And what we are going to talk about today is how data helps us in solving all these three specific puzzles of lead generation, conversion, and engagement. And one thing I want to also talk about is the focus has to be an integrated way of working. जब हम data की बात करते हैं, the key point is when a data comes in, for example, we drop a lead on a website or a social platform. Now that lead probably goes to my call center to do a calling, but the same data has to be consumed by my marketing team to ensure that my next creatives, next campaigns are more effective. So I'm reaching out to the right set of target customers. So that is the way an integrated way of working becomes a way of life when we bring data to the foray. So this is what we are going to talk through about. And as I said, data is only proliferating. Today, when you go to a website, the provider knows आप Android से login कर रहे हैं, Apple से login कर रहे हैं, laptop से कर रहे हैं, mobile से कर रहे हैं, how much time you are spending, which screen you are spending more time. It only helps us to kind of define and refine all our actions. So simple 2 points before we jump into the next part of our presentation. One, data is only exploding. It is coming across everywhere. Second is how do we take this data and convert them into actionable insights. Third is data and analytics is not only meant for a particular level. It is supposed to help right from the top till the bottom to create a next way of working. So for example, as a sales manager, if I am supposed to do 100 unit sales in a quarter, and if I'm not able to meet it, can data help me to guide? I should follow A step, B step, and C step. Potentially, if I do this, I'll be in a better position to hit my numbers. So that's what the value of data which is there. Now I want to invite Shashank and talk through some of the case examples to bring, probably, as I said, bring practicality to what we've been talking about. how we have been helping developers by using the power of data and what kind of benefits they've been able to get through that. Shashank?
Sure. Thank you, Chaitanya, and good evening, everyone. So I'll be talking through some of the use cases of data that Chaitanya spoke about. So the first use case that I'll be talking about is an integrated dashboard. Now, this is our experience. What we have seen is the leadership layer or the managerial layer. Every time we interact with them, they say, yes, we do get information, but we get multiple reports and dashboards. Probably I'll have to sift through 5-10 pages of reports and dashboards to actually find the information that I'm looking for. So what we have been advising developers on is one, how to make sense of data. And the starting point is we start from the end. We start from the end to say what is it that we require as an end product and work backwards. So I'm showing you the end product first, and then we will talk about how to arrive over here. Now on the screen, you can see this is an integrated, holistic snapshot of the business, which covers the entire value chain that probably would have seen on the slide before. So it covers my call center, marketing, channel partner, sales, and CRM. The beauty of this dashboard is, one, I get information on one page, a high level information about the business, and two, if I believe my one of my functions is not performing well, or within a particular function one of the projects is not performing well, I have the ability to drill down till the last level to be able to understand and identify what is the root cause problem and what will it require to fix it. So just to give you a walkthrough, the first chart here talks about lead to walk-in conversion. So this is typically if I have received 100 leads in my call center, what is the efficiency to convert those leads into walk-ins? We've seen that across, say, within specific micro markets of projects of similar ticket size, the efficiency to convert lead to walk-in differs. Now it could be because maybe the telecallers that we have staffed are not able to perform, and probably their pitch is not aligned to the product or to the customer segment. A lot of times we've seen Marathi customers inquiring and probably the telecaller not being too fluent in the language. Or for that matter, maybe the pitch is not right. Similarly, on marketing, if I see, the marketing dashboard shows what was the total spend done on different projects and what was the return that I received. The third dashboard, if you see, that is around channel partner management, which talks about if I had given a target of, say, X crores to be done from the channel partner vertical, YTD or MTD, how much achievement has been done. In fact, it even talks about to say that if my team went into the market and they met, say, 1,000 channel partners, how many channel partners have actually come back to the site to check out the product? And of those channel partners who came to the site to see the product, how many are willing to work? Vis-a-vis, of those willing to work, how many are actually working with me? So it's like a funnel that we draw for the channel partner team. The next dashboard is the sales one, where we've drawn the sales funnel, and I'll draw your attention to one or two metrics over here. The first metric being revisit ratio. From our experience, we've seen that often this metric is ignored, or probably this metric is absent in business reviews. Or two, there are multiple definitions of a revisit. And to give you an example, if Chaitanya visits 3 times, should that revisit be counted once or should it be counted thrice? So I won't get into too many operational details, but the point is, when we are building these reports and dashboards, it's just not that I design on the layout or I just identify the KPIs. What I also need to look at is the underlying definition of that formula. And the last bit is CRM. Probably what I will do now is I will show you a drill down of 1 to 2 dashboards and show you how we are actually able to take data and make meaningful insights out of it. So first I'll take the sales dashboard. Now in the sales dashboard, you can see that I have a walk-in count of 3,000. If I want to understand where are these walk-ins coming from, so I click on this, I get to the next level. The first screen shows me the micro market split. Now, obviously, this is not configured for the Pune market. This is configured for the Delhi market. So I'm sure you can correlate. So this shows the micro market split of the walk-ins that I'm receiving. So where this helps me, one is whenever I'm planning even my, say, sourcing activations, I can actually allocate my manpower accordingly. Point number one. Point number two, when I'm even planning my marketing activities, be it digital or ATL or BTL, I can again align my marketing spends and activities in these micro markets. The second part is, out of the 3,000 walk-ins that had come in, what is the split? How many are open? How many are lost? Sorry, I was trying my screen. Yeah. How many are open? How many are booked and lost? Third is inquiry classification. Now, again, from our experience, what we've seen is customer classification is extremely subjective. If there are 10 sales managers on site, each of them will have their own subjectivity in qualifying a customer as hot, warm, or cold. So what we typically do is we define standard guidelines to classify a customer into hot, warm, cold, depending on certain parameters. Right? So at least we get standardized input which we can use. And the last bit is sales manager performance. Now, if I want to further drill down over here and understand that, hey, I received good amount of walk-ins, but maybe almost 50% of them went lost. What is the reason? Why did I lose out on those customers? Were these not qualified customers? So if I click on this, I then understand that, okay, what are the top reasons for my customers not to buy from me? Of course, budget being the highest. Now, if I want to further drill down over here to understand what is the budget of those customers who are currently coming to my site, I get a budget split. Now, one advantage of going this micro is, a lot of times what happens is, so one is obviously when the customer is reporting their desired budget, say at the time of inquiry form, it may not be very accurate. And also, typically the customer keeps a budget of say 1 crore, they do have a cushion of 10 to 15%. What we have seen is, point number A, budget is underreported. Two, a lot of times customers are just flagged off as budget issues and closed in the system by the sales manager so that no more follow-ups are done on them. Now, the slide over here shows me that though there are some customers who have been marked lost as budget, but these customers actually had the budget to purchase my property. These customers actually had the budget to buy a 2.5 BHK. These customers actually had a budget. Not all of them, of course, some of them. So the beauty lies in details. So this is one such use case. Another I'll show you, if I go back, is if I also want to understand that, say for my 3.5 BHK configuration, about 150 odd customers have been marked as hot. So what is the status of these customers? Which customers are more likely to book with me? So out of those 144 customers, I get an understanding which customer is sitting in which bucket. So for example, 43 customers are there, which are sitting in the negotiation stage with me. So I believe probably these are more serious customers than those customers who are saying probably I'll visit next weekend with my family, right? So when I'm talking to my sales managers, I would first follow up on those these 43 customers. Another way of dissecting data is to also look at out of those 144 customers that have been marked as hot, how many customers have actually made multiple revisits? So the greater the revisit, the greater the intent at least of the customer also to purchase, right? So probably I would then start from right to left and pick up these 4 customers and do a follow-up on this with my team. Or if I were to look at my sales manager's follow-up history, I could see that there are some customers who have been tagged as hot, but they have not been followed up with for more than 30 days. So for example, in the current chart, there is a sales manager too, who has 2 customers with whom he has not followed up in more than 30 days. If I further click on this, I get to understand what project was the inquiry made for, what was the configuration, what was the budget, what was the source, which sales manager is it, and what was the last follow-up remarks. Now, if you can see, we're sitting in September, we're sitting in October. The last remark is that the customers out of time will visit in July. Now, I'm not too sure whether the sales manager followed up after July or not, or maybe the remarks are not updated. Similarly, on Vastu, if the customer has some concerns on Vastu, how can we align our pitch, our proposition accordingly? So this is on the sales side. The last bit on sales I'll show you is around the sales manager performance. Again, typically what we have observed is sales. There is only one metric usually used to look at sales managers performance, which is how much have you sold. Like Chaitanya said, that is a macro indicator, that is a macro KPI, that is something that is more like a post-mortem to say the month has gone by, you only sold X crore of inventory or Y number of units. Where probably we can help the sales manager improve the performances if we can probably break down that macro KPI into micro KPIs and see where is it that the person is lagging. For example, if the person is not meeting their target, is it that the revisits are not happening? Is it that the follow-ups are not happening? If maybe the follow-ups are happening, but revisits are not happening, maybe pitch might be an issue, right? So let's, in this chart, for example, I can see that sales manager 5, despite having being the highest number of walk-ins given to this gentleman, has only a conversion efficiency of 5%. So I can further drill down and understand where is it that this person is lacking. So clearly, we can see that the revisit ratio compared to his or her peer set lies in the red zone, and this is where he needs to work on. Unless this person is able to get more revisits, he or she will not be able to achieve their targets. Similarly, as another use case of data, I'll show you for CRM as well. So, how we build a funnel for sales, we built a funnel for CRM as well, where typically we say that what was the total demand due and how much of that has been raised. So as you can see in the chart, there is already a difference of 25 crores. So point number 1 becomes that why have I not raised that 25 crores? Second is, out of those 55, 41 has been collected, and the outstanding, out of the 70, 31 is the outstanding. I can now drill down to understand why is this 31 crores outstanding and what actionable can I take out of this. So I can see the breakup of that 31 crores across different projects. And for example, if I want to understand that, say for project 1, I can see that the outstanding is the highest. If I click on project number 1, my entire chart refreshes and I'm able to understand the split of the 10 crores and 3 crores. 3 crores has been earmarked by my relationship managers as non-collectible for this particular month. So that's an area of concern for me, right? But if I want to further understand that why is this non-collectible amount, so this is the breakup of that. I'll probably pick up the biggest contributor over here, which is that 1 crore is due to defaulters. I can then drill down further to understand who are those cases where the customers are likely to default or probably will default or have defaulted. So these are customers who have done the stamp duty and registration, yet it's been more than 90 days that the demand was raised and submitted to them, but the payment has not been made. So again, we can go back to the customer and understand why is the customer defaulting? Is it a payment plan issue? Is there a fund issue? Would a payment plan help? Or should we go for cancellation, release the inventory and probably give to the next customer who is looking for a similar inventory and has not purchased from us yet? Similar to the sales manager performance, I can also have a look at the relationship manager performance over here. So if I further drill down, I can see that for this particular RM who's looking at project number 1, what is on an average booking to stamp duty turnaround time for this particular month? What is the collection achievement? What is the stamp duty and registration achievement and the historical performance? Of course, so this is just a proof of concept. You can build as much detail as you would like to. The intent is start with the end first. So what we have to do is we start with the user in mind. So for example, my sales head, my CRM head, what information would they like to see? Probably draw an information tree, draw a KPI tree, ask those whys, that if this is not happening, why? If this is not happening, why? Until we are able to reach the last mile, which actually explains that entire tree to say that this is why probably I'm not able to meet my target. So this was a use case on dashboards. The second use case I'll show you is a little bit more advanced in nature, which is around gamification of performance. Now, traditionally, we have seen that be it my sales manager or my sourcing manager, their performance is measured using one simple KPI, which is how much have they sold. And as I mentioned previously, it's a macro indicator. So what we have designed over here using data is those micro indicators which will help me achieve my target. So for example, if I am a sourcing manager and my KRA is to drive more sales through channel partners. So rather than just looking at the end metric to say how many crores of business did I do through channel partners, I start looking at my micro metrics, which is how many CPs, how many channel partners did I empanel through the outreach. Of those channel partners, how many actually came to site, how many promised to work, how many are actually working, how many are actually able to get walk-ins, and of those, what is the conversion efficiency. So this is pretty basic, right? I mean, I only took those metrics, broke it. I took the macro metric and I broke it down into micro metrics. What we also did on top of this was we added a layer of gamification. So we put one sales sourcing manager against another, and we put a leaderboard on top of it as well. So now what is happening was, one, as a sourcing manager, if I'm not able to achieve my target, at least I can look at my dashboard and understand that there are 5 speed dials in my dashboard. 1 or 2 of those speed dials is showing in red. That means that is the area I need to work upon. Second part is, compared to my peer set, maybe I may be selling higher, but my efficiency of getting business is low, and hence my overall rank is low. This is what you can see on this particular chart. And as a result, what happens is we also had linked the rewards and recognition for these particular employees to the gamification part. Now, if you were to do this for your organization, very simple journey is break down those macro KPIs into the micro ones, be it your sales, be it your call center, relationship manager, or sourcing manager. Identify that macro KPI and break it down into the micro ones. Look at historical data on those micro KPIs. How has the team fared? And probably start with some lenient targets on it. So this worked wonders for us. When we had done this for a developer, within a month, we were able to see productivity gains. Within a month, we were able to see the effectiveness of outbound meetings by sourcing managers increase by 33%. The next case study is more around the predictive, is a use case of predictive analytics. Now here, this was more applicable during launch times. So the problem statement that we were trying to solve here for a developer was that the developer was launching a project near Pune itself, and the problem statement was that they were receiving more than 3,000 walk-ins at site on a monthly basis, and the weekends look like 500 to 700 walk-ins over both days combined. Right? They only had about 15 to 20 sales managers on their site, and the sales managers were not able to find time to actually do a follow-up with their customers. As a result of that, what was happening was a lot of customers were being left out. A lot of customers were actually being even left out, being attended on site. So the customers were walking in and leaving without being attended to, or customers probably were attended to, but then a follow-up call never really went. So the developer asked us if there is any mechanism where we can help them probably prioritize which customers to follow up with. And this is where what we did was we built a predictive model which said that basically if Chaitanya walks in, Chaitanya has a 90% probability that he will purchase a house. Vis-a-vis if Shashank walks in, Shashank has a 60% probability that he will buy. As a result, the sales manager will probably spend more time and energy with Chaitanya compared to Shashank. And the way we built this model was, we broke down the model into core and non-core parameters. So core parameters had variables like budget, configuration, location, construction status, right, which are pretty much non-negotiable for any customer. And then there were some software aspects which we labeled under the non-core category. These were parameters like, say, Vastu, number of revisits done. Has the customer walked in alone, or has the customer walked in with family? The amount of time the customer spent at the site. So these are just some of the softer elements that we took into the model. So we built the model. Now, once the model was built, what we also needed to do was we needed to ensure that information existed for us on site so that the model could take that data and give us the result. So as a result of that, we worked backwards. We enriched the data with the data parameters that were required. These were data parameters maybe in the customer information form. Some information came in from the sales managers. Once we got the information, we actually did a pilot test and then we rolled it out. Within 2 months of rollout of this model, we were able to see a 2.5x increase in my inquiry to booking conversion ratio. This is simply because rather than the sales manager chasing 100 customers, now the model was only telling the sales manager that you need to chase these 20 customers as they have a higher likelihood to book, and the balance 80 customers, not that you should ignore, but probably first address those 20, then come to the 80. The next use case I'll talk about is around performance marketing. So how can we leverage data to actually make marketing fire better for us? So this is a use case where we worked with a developer where there was barely any digital maturity. So apart from instilling marketing processes, we also put a very sharp lens of data over here. And as a result of that, within a span of 1 year, we were able to drive about 15% of total sales, amounting to about 60 odd crores just from the digital channels. Now, these are just some of the initiatives that we did through social media, website, and paid campaigns. I'll give you an example of how data worked for us in marketing, and I'll give an example of paid campaigns. This is a real life problem statement that we solved for them. So the developer had hired a marketing agency, which was supposed to run campaigns for them. And the agency promised to deliver about 10,000 leads in a span of 2 months. Now, a month passed by and the agency was only able to generate 3,000 leads. So the developer got up and said, 50% of my time has gone by and you've only honored 30% of your commitment. I'm not too sure if you will be able to meet your target. Now, as a result of that, what the agency did, they opened their targeting parameters, or in marketing lingo, they opened the tap. They widened the customer target parameters so that more number of leads would come in. So by the end of the second month, the agency was able to get 10,000 leads to the developer. However, the developer was not able to convert those leads into walk-ins. So it led to an argument between the agency and the developer, where the agency said, we did our job. It is your call center team, it is your pre-sales team, which was not able to convert those customers. It's a very common problem statement, at least from my experience of working with clients in, say, Pune market, Bombay, and many other markets. It's a very common experience to happen. So what we did over here was we enriched this process with a metric called qualified leads. So no more did 10,000 leads matter to me anymore as a marketer. What mattered to me was, out of those 10,000 leads, how many were qualified? By qualified, what I mean is probably the customer who's looking to purchase a property. It should be residential. Maybe it should be in the same micro market, similar configuration, similar budget. These are just some sample metrics I'm giving you. So if a customer is meeting these 4-5 parameters, then only will I qualify that customer as a qualified customer. And where does this information come to me, that whether the customer is qualified or not? It comes to me from my pre-sales team, because when the leads come in, it's the pre-sales team which talks to the customers, right? So when we did this, we found that the qualified lead ratio was only 30%. So while the agency got us 10,000 leads, only 3,000 leads were actually qualified. So then what we did was, now we worked back with the agency to actually increase this pool from 3,000 to say a bigger number. The way we did that was we looked at our walk-in customer data set. Like Chaitanya was saying, probably to have a 360-degree view of the customer, not just look at information in a siloed manner, that marketing only say talks to pre-sales or marketing only looks at the numbers that are shared by the agency. But marketing actually should talk to say pre-sales, should also talk to sales. So from sales, what we did was we took down the information of the customers that were coming. We built a customer persona, which basically covered who my customer is, demographics, industry, purchase trigger, so on and so forth, and actually plot that back to my marketing campaigns. As a result of that, we were able to sharpen our marketing campaigns and increase the qualified lead ratio from 30% to about 55 to 60% over a period of time. But yes, we were able to make it possible. Another thing, similarly on website, what we have seen is traffic comes to the website, but probably they don't perform any action. So then we look at data to understand how much time is the customer spending time. Looking at data, also seeing their history, their journey on the website, where are they dropping out? So maybe, and then identified a couple of reasons why they could have been dropping out. It could be that they were not able to find the information they were looking for. Probably they were taking too long to find the information. So we were able to actually package the website in a more structured manner, put some marketing automation layers on top of it, and have some call to actions. Now, these are marketing terms, probably I'm sure other panelists during the course of 4 days will anyways cover, so I will not get into them. But intent is whenever these activities are done, it generates a lot of data. So how are we able to use this data to actually drive more traffic to the website and convert those traffic into my leads? That's the bottom line.
I think probably we can just jump onto, I think, want of time, maybe you want to quickly cover the next charts. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, So the next chart is pretty much, I think it sums up what I was saying earlier, to have an integrated 360-degree view of the customer. So if you can see on the screen, this pie chart covers lead generation conversion with the stakeholder experience at its heart or at the core, right? So there are multiple touch points during lead generation. So the customer obviously is exposed to multiple touch points, and a lot of data is generated at those touch points. Intent is what do we do with those data points? So some of these questions, some of these use cases I've discussed in the past, right? So for example, who my customer is, what is their purchase trigger? One of the very simple examples I'll give you, for one of the developers, they were launching their project in Bombay on the outskirts. And the promoter had the hypothesis that most of my customers who will be purchasing will be those customers who are actually staying on rent. So the marketing creatives were also designed accordingly. Marketing creatives and communication was designed accordingly. When we actually did a voice of customers, we found that 95% of the customers who were actually looking in or interested in that project were customers who were already owning a house. The purchase trigger was they wanted to come within the BMC limit. That was the single biggest reason why they were inquiring in that particular project. Now that was a big revelation for us. And we went back to marketing to say, hey, probably we need to change a few things. Another example of this is call center experience. So many times we've seen a lead is received at the call center, but we take a lot of time. We take maybe a day, 2, 3 to go back to the customer. It has happened with me personally. In fact, I'm in that house purchasing journey. Nothing irritates a customer more than that, to just wait for the brand, just to wait to hear from the brand. And what we have seen is, if you're not able to reach the customer, say within 2 hours or the same day, you lose a customer. Similarly, if I talk on lead conversion, so So point number one, when the customer is coming into the site, what sort of information are we capturing, say, at the inquiry stage? What sort of information is the sales manager asking and recording in the system? Some examples, say ethnicity, purchase trigger, industry. Why I say industry? Recently, we were working with a developer, and one insight came was for one particular project, we were receiving high number of inquiries from people working in the IT space. And of course, it was very natural for us to correlate that because of COVID, the IT sector is on a boom. People are getting remunerated like anything. So now suddenly these people have got that money. They want to put that money, or probably for people who are working at startups. So we identified a couple of startups as well and started targeting their employees. Another use case, for example, on site experience virtual tours is, and this is what a lot of organizations, agencies are doing. Say, if I'm organizing a virtual tour of my show flat, I can actually record and understand from data that where is it that the customer is spending the most amount of time, be it my kitchen, my living room, my dining room, and probably, even in each and every particular, say, room, the customer, while probably doing that virtual navigation, has the option to express his or her opinion or feedback. So they can say that, probably I like the kitchen, or probably I found the kitchen to be smaller, so on and so forth. And on the post-sales side, while I've shown you some illustrative reports and dashboards, intent is how can we take information and use it. So, for example, how can I get a collection forecast for my current month and the next 2 months? Or for that matter, can I understand that once a customer file has come in, which are, say, 100 customers files have come in post booking, which are the customers probably for whom loan cases will be an issue? So if I can flag those concerns, if I can flag those cases beforehand, it will help me optimize on my booking to stamp duty turnaround time. So having said that, while I know probably we've done a lot of talking, what we are very keen now is to understand data readiness and maturity in your organization. So we've got a sample survey. We've got a survey over here. It won't take you more than 2 minutes of your time. There are 2 questions on it. So my request will be, if you can take out your phone, scan this QR code on your phone and answer those 2 questions. Or alternatively, you can go to this website called menti.com and enter the code on your screen and answer those 2 questions. So I'll take a pause for about 2 to 3 minutes to just understand your opinion on data and how data works in your organization.
They're very simple objective. It won't take more than 30 seconds actually. So please be comfortable in using either of the options. And Shashank, you want to move to the results slide as people start filling in?
Sure. Okay. So the first question was, my organization is able to make most out of data for actionable insights and decision making. So about almost 27% agree. Why? Okay, I think some people are still filling it. What I can see is largely people fall in the bucket of somewhat agree. So probably what I want to make of that is that that they believe there is potential for them to make better use of data in their organization. I'll go to the next chart. Okay. The second question asks, what percentage of the time of the team's time goes into preparing reports and dashboards? And the reason we asked that was often we've heard developers say that, because of manual reporting, my team spends a lot of time preparing reports, and the team says a lot of ad hoc reports are being asked by my management. So I see significant, at least 10 to 30% would be a significant number, I would say, if the team is spending time in making reports and dashboards. And I think greater than 30%, there are, I think, largely what I can see is probably there is room, if you believe you are falling in that bucket of greater than 30% or even 10 to 30%, there is room for you to optimize or free your team's bandwidth by just looking at how data is functioning in your organization. Very simply invest, maybe create a small project in your organization, ask someone to lead it, create those reports and dashboards that stakeholders require, so that we can cut down on the ad hoc reports that are being created, and then the team can actually use that time in more constructive activities.
I'll give another tip to it. While I think Shashank rightly said, probably the best way to run an organization very effectively is data should become a way of life, and making the teams work together. So that we talked about examples between pre-sales and marketing. If you make them sit, ensure that the data which a function is generating is being played back to the other function, it automatically will make the efficiencies go multiply in a multiplicative manner. Okay, Shashank, yeah, I think we are running time. So yeah. We can cover the next charts.
I think last 2 cents is a lot of, so we spoke a lot about data, right? And I'm sure everybody here sees great value of what we make of data. However, there are some challenges. There are these challenges which are perennial to any organization. First point, there is absence of single source of truth. So maybe I have multiple systems and they don't talk to each other. Or maybe some information is reported in a system, some information is being tracked in my Excel reports and dashboards. Another is people on ground believe that it is an admin task. Why should I fill data? Or probably the other challenge that we see is people readiness, right? So it has to be driven top down. So unless my leadership starts looking at data, starts asking for reports and starts asking for reviews through structured reports and dashboards, my team on ground will never look at data. And unless I do that sensitization to them to say that if I'm asking you to fill these 5-10 fields, this is the reason, they will actually never take it seriously. The last bit is process and systems. So they need to be enabled. I need to have those KPIs defined. My process needs to have that KPIs defined. My system needs to have that KPI field defined in it so that people are able to report it. But at the end of the day, of course, intent is not to overwhelm the team with too many data points. That is not what we are saying. I would say it's an evolving journey. We start with a select few KPIs and we can enrich them as we go by. That's largely the point. And this brings me to the last slide for today's discussion from our end. If you want to, this is the typical journey that you can walk through to be able to make the most out of data. So like I said, you start with the end first. So keep the user in mind. The user can be the promoter, sales head, sourcing head, relationship manager, could be anybody across the value chain, across the hierarchy. Create a user journey, understand what their requirements are. It could be in terms of maybe they don't get certain reports or in a timely manner, or they believe that probably quality of information is not correct. Understand what will be required to fix it. So if it's reports and dashboards, maybe then probably define what are the metrics they would like to see. For those metrics, what sort of data should be captured by the team? Ensure those data points are actually getting incorporated in my process and system. And then the team is given training, sensitization. Most important is what's in it for me. So the team needs to be also told that why are we recording whatever we are asking you to. And simply, lastly, governance or adoption. I think it takes considerable amount of time for the organization to move from a gut-based decision making to a data-backed decision making, for data to become the way of life.
Yep.
So yeah, that's.
And I'll just sum it up and say very simple thing. What gets measured gets improved. So jab tak we'll not be able to identify what we want to improve, hence it starts getting measured. and even people are managing it, that's fine. But the point is, that's where efficiency can be only be brought in when you start measuring that, and that's where the power of data comes by. So I think, yeah. So thank you very much, and this is what we largely wanted to talk through. Abhishek, Joydeep, back to you for question and answers. If there are any questions, which we'll be happy to answer to. Yeah, Joydeep, can hear you.
Okay, sorry, some connection issues. Very sorry about that. I just understand, wanted to understand, Chaitanya. See, it involves a lot of data which has to be converted into information. So, we have a wide range of developers who, large developers, MSME developers. Can you tell us what is the most effective way to convert this data into information with the help of some tools or any other mechanism that we can use?
So I'll simply say, point number one, you can have most mature tools to be used for. But the point is not that that is the only way to do it. I'm saying even Excel, even if you make Excel to an effective method of doing it, it can give you a lot of result. The point which Shashank was saying, right? हमको measure क्या करना है, हमको improve क्या करना है. Once you are able to plot the journey of the users, identify what all metrics I would want to measure, automatically things will start improving. More than the tool, I think it's about enriching data, capturing data, and started reporting that data in. I'll probably replay what Shashank was saying as an example. Many a times we will say sourcing manager hai, you are supposed to do, let's say 10 crores worth of business in a month. आप उसी पे measure करते हो. The measurement for the promoter or sales and marketing head is कि मुझे इतना sales करना था. So it's not only the end result, but if we can start looking at the intermediate data points or which leads to that result, will make a significant difference. Can I start looking at how many channel partners you met? Can I understand out of channel partners you met, what percentage of people, channel partners came onto my site? Out of those channel partners, how many got you the walk-ins? Out of those channel partners who got walk-ins, how many got you the closures? Automatically, moment you start looking at this funnel, and these are small data points, जो as an organization अगर एक internally बैठ के brainstorm करके we just plot these parameters in, be it in the form of Excel, I think even that's fine. For the organizations who have very mature tools available, it is far more seamless. Then I would say the authenticity of information only multiplies there. The only flip side with an Excel is probably मेरे पास that accuracy becomes slightly compromised. But then I'm also assuming that my scale of operations is not that large, hence can be managed on Excel. So the point is start measuring all these small micro steps for each and every role. You'll start getting the value out of it. Tool comes second in my opinion. Could I answer that, Joydeep?
Yes, Jim. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
We have another question from the audience. According to you, what should be the time that an organization should spend on data crunching? And that's something that one of our members from the audience wanted to know.
So as I said, data becomes the way of life. I won't disassociate data with what my normal functioning is. So data crunching, if you ask me, there are organizations which have crafted data scientists as a role. I'm a developer industry की बात कर रहा हूँ. I'm talking about real estate developers who have put in people जो सिर्फ data को crunch करके mine करके insights निकालते हैं. And I just want to differentiate between reports and dashboards and actionable insights. जब हम data crunching की बात कर रहे हैं, it should help my organization to start looking at these micro parameters. So in a simple answer, I would say one, each of the functions should take accountability of their metrics and वो एक way of working बन जाना चाहिए. And there are organizations which are spending some time or in terms of organization bandwidth to allocate data science as a clear role in the organization to kind of make data talk.
I think also just to add to what Chaitanya is saying, I've also seen organizations have a small center of excellence established in their organization, and where the objective is on quarterly basis, quarterly or a half yearly basis, look for use cases, so identify, design, and implement those use cases. Now, these could be very simple use case. The maturity of those use cases can differ across organizations, and as the organization grows or the maturity grows, the maturity of those use cases can also grow. So, yeah.
If you ask me, my end state, data cell can become a profit center for an organization. That's the way I view it. अगर मैं data इतना mine करता हूँ, it helps me multiply my efficiencies and productivity. It essentially is helping and guiding my organization to multiply my end outcomes, right? So that's the way. Moment we start thinking in that direction, everything becomes a way of life in the organization. So it has to start from top. Saying that मैं कोई भी review बिना data के नहीं करने वाला, unless you give me a data backed things, you ask me so what, automatically it starts becoming the way of life for all the people. It's always a starting trouble. It's never easy, right? Change is never easy. But moment you start making those small steps, you will find that people start finding value in it itself. Shashank gave so many examples, right? Nobody, sales people hate putting data in, hate reporting data in. Nobody likes. But the point is, when you start putting these small things, and adoption is very important. Can we recognize? Can we reward? Can we make them understand what's in it for them? How it is becoming valuable for them? Automatically, the value of data gets understood and the adoption multiplies. So
thank you so much. Shashank, great presentation. Chaitanya, great inputs. We thoroughly enjoyed this session. I'm sure a lot of us will change our behavior with the way we look at data, and how we analyze it and how we make decisions. Thanks a lot.